What's up, everybody? It's your good friend Lukey, and this is my new YouTube channel. Please subscribe to help me. Look on the screen. Don't be a reoccurring viewer. Only 25% of the people watching these videos are subscribing. Hit the bell icon. Subscribe now, please. What's up, everybody? It's your good friend Lukey, and I am back with a somber video reaction to what came out last night. What came out last night, if you're unaware, Adrien Broner did a video where allegedly or seemingly, to my eyes, looked as though he was on a substance. He did an interview with a podcast I've never heard of called the Danza Project, though now I will have heard of them. I guess they do interviews with rappers and people in the freestyle rap community, and it's kind of, for lack of a better word, it's like an urban interest podcast that kind of fulfills that role that maybe Complex or Vibe magazine might have fulfilled in years when people would go and buy a magazine. Now they're kind of branching out and getting these big marquee guests, and people enjoy what they do, so much credit to them. So we could get into the ethical dilemma of if a guest comes on your podcast, should you have them if they're not in a state to be a guest? Because I do think that that's a conversation that could be had, but I'm not here to talk about the business practices of things. And I also think that when it comes to business, a lot of things factor in, and sometimes it's not morality, sadly, with business. Sometimes it comes down to simple as what is the return on investment. So whenever you look at things from a business standpoint, you have to look at a lot of different scenarios, and some of those are not the nicest scenarios. You just have to look at it as a business owner as opposed to a human being, which I don't want to get into that conversation. I want to get into the human being conversation, which is Adrien Broner is pretty clearly deeply troubled. He's deeply depressed. It seems like he's self-medicating from some deep pain. I don't want to throw any labels out on him, but it really feels as though boxing is probably not helping his life. It feels like the image and keeping up the persona of this Adrien Broner character is deeply weighing on him, and it's a burden. He feels the need to be this person that's a larger-than-life jokester, funny guy, able to do things, and in many ways it feels like he was far too interesting for what he tried to do. He tried to be an athlete, one of the great pro boxers of his era, and he just had a slew of different interests. And I know I say a slew a lot. It's one of my go-to words. But he wanted to be a rapper. He wanted to be an entertainer. He wanted to be loyal to people in his neighborhood. He wanted to do this and that. And I think what I'm learning about greatness, and hopefully one day I can be considered great, is to be great, you have to really limit your focus and turn into a microscope and go deeper into one subsection. You don't really see that many masters of anything that have too many interests all over the place. And what I think we saw was during Broner's prime, he spread it way too thin with too many interests. And now he's quite well past his prime. He's not the fighter he once was, but he's still a very interesting fighter, a monetized fighter. And sadly, now situations like this are how he's going to get his name in the headlines. What I would encourage people to do, if they like boxing and if they're a kind person, is Broner needs some form of help. And rather than monetizing content based around his addictions and really the ugly pitfalls that he's facing currently, because I think that the thing no one ever talks about is Broner's a beloved figure to the fighters. I think to most promoters he's a beloved figure. It seems like he just has impulse controls. He has problems spending money. He has problems with, it seems, and this is all alleged, substances. It seems like he's struggling to be able to say no to certain instances. He enjoys things, and when he gets the enjoyment, he can't hit that threshold and go, okay, I'm good. It's very troubling. Because now the way the internet algorithms are set up, like YouTube, the more negative and the more reactionary, mocking, belittling, poking fun of Broner, the more views that's going to get. Why is that the case? Well, that's the case because Most people have a regular job, something that they like or kind of like. Maybe they don't even like it, but it's a means for them to make money and to transition into like their ideal life when they hit 50, 60, 70, where they can kind of go on this world tour of everything they wish they did, but they didn't have the financial means to do it. In the midst of that process, for most people, they want to watch a fantastical, or what I'm observing on Instagram or YouTube. I'm more of a YouTube guy. A lot of people are more Instagram and now TikTok, which I don't even use, so I'm not as familiar. A lot of people want like what reality TV used to be for people. Now reality TV, I don't even know if it exists, but this seems to be the new form of reality TV, which is, I want to see a living embodiment of someone doing everything that I would never do and just see how crazy that gets. And there's a level of enjoyment of just seeing someone do something I would never do. And it becomes episodic. It becomes something where you want to follow every bit of turmoil. And sadly, this piece of I don't want to call it failure, but this demon that lingers over Broner when he came to this interview in a state where he was unable to basically be interviewed, this is going to get more attention than his fight against Hutch. Bill Hutchinson, I believe, was the guy that he just beat recently. It's sad to see Broner in this condition shortly after one of his prize fights. It's sad to see a great boxer in this type of way. I really think that there's really good qualities of Broner. I just wish Broner would like who he is, because I think that's the sad part. Is I think at times Broner's frustrated with himself, maybe for good reason, but then that enables some of his bad habits. I don't even think you can at this point blame the people around him, because you don't even know if they're saying the right things for him, and he just does what he wants. It's a complicated situation where it's easy to point fingers, but at a certain point, I think the big thing is, as media, as people that love boxing, we need to collectively say, hey, we're going to limit the content we make to monetize Broner, because it's getting to a point where it's uncomfortable, it's unsettling, and I hope Adrien Broner can get help, because when you're showing up to interviews as a celebrity in this condition, this is a peek into how chaotic your life can be, because Broner's life is probably a lot crazier than that one moment of that interview. It's sad. It's sad because Broner was really viewed as one of the next major stars of boxing, and now I think a lot of us are worried about if he's going to make the news for the wrong reasons the next time we hear about him. And that's really troubling for someone that at the turn of the 2015, the start of like this new decade of PBC, it felt like we were going to get a lot of Broner classics. And instead, we've seen a lot of Broner's demons happen, probably during the midst of all of that. A lot of yes men kind of enabling things. And now we're at this sad point where he's 32, 33 years old. By no means is he washed up, but he has to reevaluate the way he goes about his life. And that's simply, at this point, a Broner decision. Okay, this is unsuccessful the way I'm going about things, because I truly believe there are a lot of fight fans who might have been annoyed by Broner during the Maidana fight, but if he can get it back together, I think a lot of people want to see Broner do well, because I think that a lot of people know someone that's battled substance abuse issues, people that have struggled with these things, and I do think America loves someone who can come back from adversity. Yes, he was anointed as a golden child. He kind of ruined his run, but there's always hope that you can change your life. You can change your life in any different way. And I guess I get concerned, because knowing the way the internet is, it's going to be fueling more of Broner's demons. So this has been a topical subject. I decided to make a short video on this because I didn't feel like writing it. My eyes actually really hurt. Hope I'm okay. But it's just troubling. And I'm not going to comment on the podcast, because that, once again, it's a business decision. Don't know the business behind it. But now it's made their podcast relevant, and honestly, it's made Broner a top talking subject in a week where Broner wouldn't be brought up. I just hope Broner does okay over the next couple of years. It's Lukie. If you have a comment to this kind of nature of this content I created, be sure to leave it in the comments section. Hit the thumbs up to grow the channel. Subscribe. We need all the help we can get. It's just me manning the boards here, and I do a Sunday podcast. I certainly love it. I'm trying to regain my passion in boxing, and doing this type of content is really therapeutic. So I appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in, whether it's 5, 10, or a million people. It's all the same to me. I care about each and every one of you so much because you motivate me to keep going. And I think that I battle demons not unlike Broner, and being able to make these type of vlogs, to be able to get some positive reaction, that keeps me away from the nasty thoughts I sometimes have. So I guess that's why I'm also sympathetic to Broner, because I definitely feel like I understand what it's like to kind of go through these moments where you really don't like decisions you've made, or you feel like you've been condemned by the world and there's no coming back from it. It's a very, very bad place to be, and I just hope he can find peace one day.